Hello everyone on the internet and thanks for tuning in. I'm RyuKiva of RyuKiva Toku.
And welcome to a special episode of Toku Bros. I'm one of your hosts, the Winter Cosplayer.
Soul Driver!
The what?
Soul Driver!
Okay, so whatever he's on about, whatever that was butchered from, I beg for bid.
It's butchered from what we're talking about.
That is not the... Anyway, we'll get to that. So today is a one-off, if you will. We're going to be talking about the reveal trailer to Master Rider Saber, the announcement trailer for that. And I felt, after watching the 4-minute reveal trailer, and also going by little bits and pieces off Wikipedia and some bits some bits of the interview, that I felt I needed to, talk about a few things.
Down, if you will.
So, where to begin? Intro. Let me again. The cast seems very your run-of-the-mill, young Japanese early to mid-20s kind of bog standard actors and actresses and whatever. The intros feels again very meh. The story feels very they're taking like 10 steps back. I swear they're taking 10 steps back on this. I feel personally, at least in my opinion, I feel from what I got by the concept and the reveal that it's all about all the broken chapters. They have to regain them and they have to try and find this legendary artifact called the book. And I'm like, one, really? And two, which I'm getting on to the point of the gimmickry being, one, swords, fine, I don't mind swords, but two, you get your powers from books. And I'm like, okay, and then we get a wrong term. We get examples of two books that a Master Rider Saber uses. One of which being his personal one, Brave Dragon, which he himself looks good. I'm not going to deny that. But then he gets his power-ups from other books, and so he uses a book that is of Jack and the Beanstalk. And
that's one example, but yeah, go on.
And then it basically converts into like either double style, where half of it turns a different color, and it just, I don't know. We've already had that style before. We've already had swords before with Gaim, which was done well, mind you. And I just, and also the villains looks absolutely trash. Now, that said, as always, Master Rider always nails it with the suits. So far, they've announced, as in men-wise, Saber, Blades, and Caliber. Furthermore, on the poster, you see in Saber, Blades, and three other what I feel are the protagonists, the good guys. A yellow, a green, and I can't remember what other color the other one is, but anyway.
There's the one in the main in the background.
Yeah, I think green. But anyway, my point is, I'm curious as to what their role will be. But that aside, in the interview, and also on Wikipedia, it is said that there are going to be at least 10 riders in this series. The last time we had something that big was Ryuki.
No, we had Ryuki, which was 13, and then Gaim also had no, not Gaim. Hold on,
No,
there was another. There was another. Was it Gaim?
I'm not. I'm not. Gaim had. Gaim had. Gaim. You had grape, but I'm just going to call it by the fruit. Grape, banana. You've had.
You had Peach. You had the acorn thing. You had
Yeah.
durian arms. I mean, Gaim had a lot of riders as well. Don't forget that. But I think because I know when it comes to counting the number of riders, there's a lot of technicalities people put in. But yeah, but
Right.
Ryuki is the one that people remember the most.
Agreed. But my point is, and I'm going to use an example, that being, say, X8 as an example. You almost started, you have four main riders in X8, right? You had X8, you had
I was talking
Snipe.
about Gaim, but you've got on to Xade, but go on.
No, there's a reason. Basically, you only had four, right? Snipe, you had
Well, no, because again, I mean, if you're going to start talking about Xade, you had Xade, you had Snipe, you had
no. My point is you only
Brave,
had
you had Poppy
Yeah.
Apple, who's your
No. I'm not counting Poppy. There's a
and then
reason.
you had the girl
No,
Nico,
wait.
who had her own form,
Stop,
and then Kronos as well.
My point is, to carry that series, they only used four, and then they introduced little bits near to the second half of the season. That's what I'm trying to mention.
That's probably what they'll do with this, because again, they're not going to introduce so many riders at the beginning. I mean, again, they'll probably end with about, again, because I read that as well, that they were going to have like a lot of riders, 10 around that number. But I think it's got a lot of potential. I mean, yeah, it's like I'm going to cut into my analysis now. So looking at the Saber trade, I mean, it's good that you're showing so much passion. I mean, for me, just to give like a little update. So like we've been on a hiatus for a bit, mainly because I've been redecorating my room, so you can see everything looks a little bit different here. So now that we are back on track, and we'll be releasing more videos in the upcoming season as 01 comes to an end. But firstly, we did have the press conference. Now I've only seen clips of it, but I will get around to watching the full press conference at some point. But the clips I did see, we did get a good look at the trailer there, as well as the official release of the trailer. We got a good look at the cast. I mean, we got like our main heroine, and we did actually get to look at 3 of the riders that are, like we've got names of 4, and I believe there was like shots of like 4 riders. But we did get the names of, obviously, Saber, our main hero. We had Blades. And there were 2 other names that they released, which I've forgotten off the back of my head. But still, we got got to see our cast. Our cast looks, again, like I would say our hero Saber. He looks kind of a little bit like Fua, in my opinion, from 01. But a lot of people have actually comparing Fua, as in Vulcan.
Bowser.
No, not Bowser. Anyway, while he's thinking about that. And then even the secondary rider, Blades. I mean, I actually think that Blades form, it looks so cool. And like a lot of people are loving it. I mean, I'm personally thinking, alright, there's kind of a scale where you've got your main rider, secondary rider. Sometimes the secondary rider can just be like a copy of the first. So think a Spectre. But then you look at Blades, it just looks so much different from how Saber looks. Which, on one hand, people are complimenting it, it is really cool. For me, I'm just like, it just feels such a detachment. Whereas you look at the Green Rider and the Yellow Rider in the poster, they do look a little bit similar to Saber. Now, for me, Saber's design is pretty cool, but the one thing that is throwing me off is the big sword in the middle of his head. That's the one thing that's off, but otherwise, all the design's cool. People are picking up on how it's like very reminiscent of Double. People are getting Wizard and even Ghost and little bits of Gaim in there as well. I mean, obviously, when it comes to things like the story, I'm going to cut Toei some slack, which I'm going to get back to. But going back to how the forms look, I mean, I'm totally cool with it being like, sort of, whether it's build, whether people are thinking of build, whether people are thinking of double. I think it's fair enough. I mean, because one thing that Winter Cosplayer didn't touch on is that, all right, we've got like the thing about using the ride books, as they're called, which is from the stories, but then they're also using animal powers. So our first guy, Saber, he's using dragons, so he's got a big dragon on his shoulder. And then they're going to be using more dragons. And the thing that I've put on my own personal social media is they have included a dodo in that intro trailer, which as soon as they start showing that dodo in the show, I am going to go absolutely mad. And
wait, a dodo. Wait.
Right, if you look at that intro when they're showing pictures of animals, there is a dodo in there, and the fact that
Dodo was just in 01 though.
Yes, I know, as Ikazuchi. Yeah, so the fact that they are hinting at including a dodo in Saber, I am all on this right now. That is a dodo right there.
Wait. When's the last time? Are they actually gonna carry a?
I again, I wrote on my social media, RyuKiva Toku, that it's very unlikely that they will tie in Ikazuchi to this whole thing.
No, not necessarily.
It would go off the hook.
Yeah, agreed, but not necessarily Ikazuchi. But
no, of course not. It wouldn't be in the series. In the series, they will, like again, if you look at that trailer, they show all these different mythical animals, and the dodo is amongst them. And that is.
When's the last time? When is the last time?
I've got a screenshot of that on my Instagram. Trust me on that one.
Right. And when's the last time we've seen, besides Black and Black RX, that a rider has carried over from one series to the next?
Again, I doubt it will be anything to do with Ikazuchi, but still, and again, even when you look at Dodo Magic and Ikazuchi, but it's very unlikely.
I never said Ikazuchi.
That I'm just saying the fact they are including a dodo in this is insane. So,
can I just one thing I forgot to mention? When it comes to suits, let me just quickly point on this. Do you feel you get a wizard / Hibiki vibe, especially on the helmet?
I mean, I've seen a few people talk about Hibiki, which I can see it, but for me personally, it was like definitely Wizard. Wizard was bam in my face. And so, whether you're thinking, because Build had the theme of animal and random objects, and they explain that quite later on in the story why they did that. So we've already got the explanation. And this is where I'm going to start talking about a story now. So we've been told that our hero Saber, he is an author, he is a novelist, and so the fact that they've got him, so the fact they've made this guy an adult, I'm actually all on board for this. I mean, Aruto 01, we've got him as like a youngster kind of thing. But
that works.
Build, you look at Build, you look at Ghost, even X-Aid was, Emu was a student doctor. But we've got like a full professional, not so much from Gaim's crazy, sort of one job wonder guy. We've got a proper novelist, as far as we can see, who's then, being immersed in his own world. And and again, it's all about we've got this story about the villains wanting to unify the books to then be able to have like a magnificent power, which again, people can feel however they want. You've made your feelings perfectly clear, but for me, this is the point I'm coming to now, that however bad or weak or unoriginal or whatever they're recycling, whatever ideas they're recycling, because of this whole COVID situation that we have been in the last year, I am going to cut Toei some slack this year, and that even goes for next year's Sentai. So I've seen a lot of criticism on what people thought. I mean, sure, I'm not really hot on the sword in the middle of the head look, but apart from that, anything else that might not be up to scratch, I will cut Toei some slack. I mean, the one thing that we have seen in the trailer, right at the end of the trailer, is we see a lot of CGI going on, and people have. I mean, I've been seeing a lot more positive about the CGI, to be fair. But it goes towards dangerous territory of people saying, oh, we're going to get, it's no longer going to be tokusatsu live action. It's just going to be anime CGI, which is dangerous territory. It always is dangerous territory. They talk about it for Power Rangers for decades. I I mean, Power Rangers is a different talk because there's a lot of news that's been coming out about the Power Ranger universe. But going back to Kamen Rider, like, I will say that the fact that they are, I will be expecting more CGI simply because of the whole COVID situation. Whatever weaknesses, whatever repetition they're doing, whatever unoriginal ideas, I will cut them some slack this year. Just so, the fact that a lot of people have loved Zero One, and the fact that they are going to be cut to 46 episodes is a massive. Considering I saw a lot of people criticizing Zero One at the beginning, I think a lot of people did actually fall in love with Zero One, and people are really disappointed that they've been cut short simply because of this whole COVID situation. So,
I mean, forgive me, but not just that, but also 01, at least for the first 2/3 of the story, was solid for me, in my opinion. I mean, of course, we'll get into those details when we do its own separate reviews. But just going back on Saber for a minute, I'm just gonna point on one gimmick that. Oh, sorry. Main item that I personally do not like, and that's the driver. And just the fact that you have what looks like you can have 3 books in your driver, and then what's more, to release the power, to open the book for power, you have to pull the sword that's in your driver. You have to pull the sword out, and that is your sword. That is the Master Rider's main weapon.
I mean, again, I personally think it looks fine. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, because even from the trailer that we got, we do learn that there is like a strong story in relation to the weapons that they'll be using, and again, mainly a sword. I believe like some of the heroes that they'll be reading about will involve swords, including Japanese folklore, from what I had read as well. So, like, again, I can cut that a little bit of slack. Like, even though I said about all the different vibes I got, the one thing that I will mention that's not Kamen Rider is Soul Calibur. And I got a lot of Soul Calibur vibes from the trailer, straight up. And again, I can't wait to actually see the press conference in full and see what else I can pick apart. I mean, like, even looking at the heroine, like, we seem to have, like, quite a sort of girly, heroine. But, like, it's a shame that we've not got any hint of, like, a Valkyrie style female heroine. That would be really good for the franchise. But again, maybe they're going to give it a rest, or maybe we'll get a female rider in one of the many riders that we're apparently going to get during Saber.
I personally think, I think it would be healthy for Master Rider to have even at least one female rider per season, just for
diversity.
How can I say? Exactly. Number 2, what was I was going to say something that was what I was going to say. The main focus, at least in the title, it's Master Rider Saber. It's a sword-themed series. You mentioned earlier in your comments you feel, and slightly fear, it's going to be heavy in CGI. I want almost authentic, or at least to a degree, authentic sword play, if you will. If I get, what's the word? If I get sort of CG sword fighting, I am seriously going to be
Have you seen Garrow?
No.
Right, well, just to interject, so like Garrow had plenty of CGI sword fighting, so it's neither here nor there. But I can appreciate if people don't like it. So, but again, it's like just to touch lightly on 01. 01 has amazing fight sequences, flat out. That's my opinion.
Agreed.
And when it comes to Saber, I mean, we get a little bit of a fighting sequence in that trailer, which, I was like, all right, this is a bit unorthodox fighting style that I'm seeing, and that's just from one mini trailer fight scene. But again, yeah, I'm not saying that I disagree with you. I mean, it'd be great to see some like amazing sword play. I mean, you know, things like kendo is massive in Japan. It's where it comes from. But again, it's the COVID situation. It's something that I've already said. I mean, so I will.
No, I get
It'll
it.
be interesting to see what CGI they do include, including what we saw in the trailer of him jumping on a rock and slashing a rock again. That's very anime Sword Calibur
Yeah.
style. Like
No, but I get it. But see, here's the thing: if Gaim can do it, why can't this one? And they
again,
put their
in
name
my
on the
opinion, it's going to be
they
down to
put their
COVID.
name on the title though. They put their name on the title though. So that's why there's pressure, at least from my angle, to see more authentic, sword play. If you will.
Again, it's got. I mean, again, in my opinion, it's going to be down to COVID. I mean, so many. I mean, you know, like touching on non-Saber news. Well, you know, considering we talked about Saber, like so many Toku actors from both Sentai and Rider have all been coming down with COVID apparently.
No, I'm aware.
They are, you know, like they have said that they are really going heavy down on like their sort of restrictions, and even before COVID, like I was reading a lot of reports saying that they were kind of that Toei were feeling that they were being restricted into the number of locations they could record in Japan. And that, a couple of directors from over the years were thinking, oh, they will most likely outsource scenes to outside Japan one day, which would be a little bit weird unless you're doing something like Geki Ranger's Hong Kong Battle or something. But then again, it's like, even when it came to Showa Rider, they were always going across Europe and Latin America anyway. But I don't know, it's just something about if they actually did have to go hardcore outside of Japan, it'd be weird.
Here's a thought. If they're going sort of that kind of myths and legends kind of BSS, right?
Okay.
There is one country they could go to technically to film.
Lapland.
What?
Go on. Carry on.
New Zealand.
Yeah, because I heard a lot of people saying that about Sentai because that's where they do PR. So yeah, I've heard this as well. In fact, I think they already do, because if you look at the Magi Ranger opening, that was New Zealand.
Really? I did not know that.
That is definitely New Zealand, because I think they only did like a couple of bits here and there outside of Japan in general, but again, especially when it comes to Sentai and PR, I know they kind of do the whole New Zealand tie-in, because again, apparently it's really cheap to do everything down there, because I seem to be touching in on PR every so often, but Dino Fury, which is going to be the adaptation of Ryu Soldier, they have green lighted that for this winter.
But my point is you could almost tie in sort of I don't want to go as far as saying Lord of the Rings kind of vibe, but as
of course, again, like a lot of productions get filmed in New Zealand, but again, the whole situation, they have limited who isn't able to record, but PR is one.
But from that angle, though, New Zealand is said to be at least the most stern when they came to the lockdown, so thus they have the lowest.
Well, ironically, I don't know if you've seen the latest news, but their numbers have actually, they've actually started. Even though they were zero for a while, they've actually got numbers now. So there's a second wave going on, and again, it won't surprise me if Saber or next year's Sentai is going to get affected by the second wave. Either way.
We'll see. Well, anyways.
But again, I will cut whatever negative people are feeling towards Kamen Rider Saber just from the press conference and trailer and whatever. Okay. I'm personally going to cut them some slack this year, and I suggest every fan does the same, flat out.
Right. Let me end it on this. What would your initial thoughts be? Because for me personally, just from the reveal trailer I saw, I am cautious. Like, very cautious. What would you be?
I mean, I will say, I'll add an original angle. Like, I will say, I've not heard, like, compared to previous years, I've not heard that many people, I've not heard that many people criticizing the gimmick. So if you feel negative about the gimmick, like, I can see it, but, like, ride books, like, too like I'm not too heavy. I'm not again like I've already come with this mind of general open-mindedness and not putting so much pressure on this year's series. I personally just hope that both Sentai and Rider will be able to ride out this whole COVID wave. Even if they, I don't, I mean, again, their viewership numbers are probably going to go down, their sale numbers are going to probably go down, but I still hope that they will be able to get out on the other side. And I think they are really trying. Like they really tried hard to end 0-1 on a high. Like we had a great cast with 0-1. Like I saw, compared to the beginning of the series, I've seen a lot of the older fans fall in love with the series, and like they're really heartbroken that this series is ending on such few episodes. I'm feeling that too. When it comes to Saber, I've seen like the mixed reviews from different people and just general comments and threads. So, I will just hope that whatever weaknesses the series has, I will give it an open mind. Even if it's too much CGI, and again like the fight scenes, it's again they're not going to be at their greatest because everyone's social distancing. Doesn't matter what everyone's sort of view on the whole COVID thing is, but studios, all these different companies that are involved, they are adhering to laws and procedures and restrictions. Sorry about that. They are adhering to so many of the restrictions. They are following procedure, and I will cut them slack 100%.
But at the end of the day, yes or no? Are you looking forward to it?
I'm definitely looking forward to it, even if I don't like the big sword in his head. But I will again. I'll even cut that a bit of slack, even if it's going to distract me a lot. But still.
Well, you look forward to it. I am very cautious for what I think. What do you guys think at home? Are you looking forward to it? Are you cautious like myself? Do you see Master Rider Saber as an open book through the entire series for what you see? What do you guys think? Let us know, comment down below what you think. But otherwise, that's our episode for today.
That's our very spontaneous Winter Cosplayer wanted to record at the last minute review of the Saber trailer. You can catch us at Toku Bros on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and this very YouTube channel. Twitter specifically at Toku Bros 71. And of course myself, RyuKiva Toku, who's on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Patreon, and my WordPress site, ryukivatoku.wordpress.com. Thank you very much.
And you can join.
And I think I'll do it this time.
No, you're missing me, man. And you can find me at the Winter Cosplayer at Facebook and also on Instagram as well. But as always, join us next time for another episode of Toku Bros. And as always, fist through the cam.
Through the cam. See you next time.